Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV's Prime Time News. My name is Iribami Salako. We begin with headlines. The Inspector General of Police restrict vehicular movement between the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on 21st September ahead of the Edo State governorship election. Last on the news, President Bola Tinubu calls on all stakeholders in the upcoming Edo State governorship election to conduct themselves peacefully and sportingly. From the international scene, killing of a Japanese schoolboy in the Chinese city of Shenzhen sparks worry among Japanese experts living in China, with top firms warning their workers to be vigilant. Details of these and more coming your way soon. To stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. Ahead of September 21st governorship election in Edo State, the Inspector General of Police has restricted vehicular movement between the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day. Addressing journalists at the police command headquarters in Benin, Force PRO Muyiwa Dejobi said the restriction covers both land and sea, stating a strict compliance and enforcement. He said the IGP had ordered the demobilization and the activation of orderlies protecting personnel on election day. The Force PRO also said special attention will be given to persons with disabilities and special needs.
The Inspector General of Police has ordered the restriction of all vehicular movement on roads, waterways, and other forms of transportation from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day. That is tomorrow, Saturday, 25 September 2024. Exceptions will be given for essential services, including accredited media, electoral officials, ambulances, and emergency responders.
Residents of Auchi in Edo North Senatorial District have called on the people of the state to shun all forms of violence ahead of Saturday's governorship election. The residents made this known while speaking with our correspondent, Dele Fasan. The report.
Residents of the agrarian community of Auchi as early as 7 a.m. set out for their daily businesses in anticipation of tomorrow's governorship election, which is an off-cycle election here in Edo State. This is as the fear of violence and attacks made some voters to be considering if they would participate in the electioneering process. Some legal practitioners and residents call for a peaceful poll as against mortgaging the life of the people.
For those who are still planning to go and snatch ballot boxes, those people who are still planning that, I think my word for them is that whatever ballot box that they steal, they are stealing their future and the future of their generation to come.
Saturday will be another day for the set out voting process. I hope to see a free and fair election where there will not be any form of mayhem in the around the Edo State province. To those who want to come and create any form of terrorism or cause any form of chaos during the voting processes, for them not to go ahead with it, because we have the future of others that are ahead of us.
The election will go smooth. I believe that this coming Saturday, because I seen the Edo people are very wise. They are very wise. It's not a place, it's not a state you can come and lie to there. My advice to there is just to this election. Those, if you know you are one of the talk, or they will send you message, go and snap ballot paper. If you are collecting money, please, my advice to you, just stay at home.
The election, in my own observation, the election will be free affair in the election. There's no more trouble, there's no more violence in the election. because of your candidate you want to lose an election and you want to sell your life to that candidate. So please and please, in that such area they should avoid violence so that it will not cause them another problem.
With less than 24 hours to the Edo governorship election, one would only hope that security operatives match their words with action in ensuring a violent free poll. From Benin City, Daily Fason reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Still on the election, President Bola Tinubu on Friday called on all stakeholders in the upcoming Edo State governorship election to conduct themselves peacefully and sportingly. Tinubu commended or conveyed this message in a statement signed by Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, titled President Tinubu urges peace and civility in Edo State governorship elections. On Saturday, September 21st, 2024, Edo State citizens will elect a new governor in what has been tagged a tough contest among 3 major candidates. President Tinubu emphasizes that democracy thrives on civility, tolerance, patience, and respect for the rules of the game. The president, who noted that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has committed to conducting a free and fair election, urged all stakeholders to work together to ensure a successful and peaceful process. He urged all citizens in the state to remain peaceful and respectful throughout the voting process, encouraging them to resolve any disagreement amicably through the constituted authorities. Now to other stories, and still on the election, as part of measures to support the Nigerian police in policing the Benin River, Ondo waterways and other territorial waters ahead of Saturday's governorship election in Edo State, the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Delta have embarked on aerial and waterway patrol with gunboats and high-powered helicopter to prevent criminal elements access to Edo State. The NNS Delta commander, Commodore Abba Mushin, rode out the gunboats and helicopter with selected journalists as they overran the creeks and patrolled the waterways. Addressing journalists, the NNS Delta commander, represented by Commander Samuel Musa, said it is part of the synergy in supporting the Nigerian police during the election.
The Nigerian Navy has deployed personnel, helicopters and gunboats to support the Nigerian police force in the conduct of the Edo State off-cycle governorship election. Worthy of mention is that Nigerian Navy ship Delta in Warri has deployed gunboats in all the waterways, hotspots and choke points adjoining to Edo State through Benin River to ensure smooth and safe conduct of the Edo State off-cycle governorship election in support of the Nigerian police force.
He warned criminal elements to steer clear of the waterways, as our correspondent spoke on the waterways and aerial patrol.
And a note of warning is to all criminal elements that are advised to stay off all Edo waterways, creeks and rivers linking to the high seas that fall within Nigerian Navy ship Delta's area of operations.
The message by the Nigerian Navy is clear: that criminal elements who have no business with the election to stay clear of the border towns and the waterways in ensuring that we have an itch-free Edo election come Saturday. And the support by the Nigerian Navy to the Nigerian police is one of the synergy and the call by the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, in obeying the order of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that security is key in ensuring that this election is free, fair, and violence-free. From Benin City, Daily Fason reporting for Galaxy TV News.
And with less than 24 hours to the Edo State governorship election, the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the off-cycle election, Frank Mba, has assured the 17 political parties vying for the state seat of the governor a level playing ground. The IG Mba made this known while briefing journalists at the State Police Command headquarters in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Our correspondent, Dele Fasan, has the rest of the story.
According to the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, 35,000 policemen and 8,000 sister security agencies will partake in Saturday's governorship election. This briefing by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Edo election is to reassure the people of the police neutrality after being criticized of being partisan.
Provide a level playing field for everybody. We will be politically neutral, we will be professional, we will enforce the laws strictly, firmly, but politely. We will hold people accountable when they infringe on the laws. We will make arrests where necessary and will ensure that those who go out of their way to break the laws don't go scot-free.
He warned those who have no business with the electioneering process to stay clear.
However, for those who are not accredited and who do not have rules that are sanctioned by the Electoral Act to play, I want to seize this opportunity to warn them to stay clear of the entire process.
Although the Edo people will not take the assurance by the police with a pinch of salt regarding the tension ahead of the election, but the people must also play their roles by keeping to the rules guiding elections and shunning all forms of violence. From Benin City, Daily Fast reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Meanwhile, the Edo State Commissioner for Information, Chris Karu, says men of the Nigerian Army repelled hoodlums trying to take over the Oredo Local Government Collation Center. The commissioner disclosed this while briefing journalists in Benin City, the Edo State capital. According to him, the thugs were repelled after taking over some INEC facilities and the Council Collation Center, as he expressed displeasure over the incident.
Thugs, I don't know which party they belong to, have taken over some of the INEC offices across some of the LGAs, especially Oredo, Isaka West, Isan West, some of the very serious LGAs. And we just want to bring your attention to the world that this kind of activity is not acceptable.
You also learn to the news on Galaxy TV coming up next. Central Bank of Nigeria temporarily withdraws monetary credit, foreign trade and exchange policy guidelines for fiscal year 2024 to 2025 document. Details of that coming after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our Eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, Asada Group, is interested in an election that is conducted in full compliance with the Electoral Act, INEC guidelines, and all relevant laws that guarantee a free, fair, peaceful, and credible election process. Briefing journalists ahead of the election in Benin City, the convener, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, said that he noted that they have deployed over 4,000 trained, accredited, and citizen observers to follow up the conduct of the election.
Statement of the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room on the Edo State governorship elections scheduled for 21st September 2024. Adequately prepared to observe Edo State governorship elections scheduled for 21st September 2024. The situation room, through our partner organizations, have deployed a cumulative of about 4,000 trained and accredited armed citizens observers.
Now to other stories, the House of Representatives Committee on Safety Standards and Regulation has urged health and environmental practitioners to obtain the new certification from the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, ISPON, in order to continue practicing in the country. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Suleiman Gomi, announced this while delivering a communique after a meeting with ISPO and stakeholders in Abuja on Friday. He stated that the meeting resulted in the establishment of a caretaker committee, CTC, tasked with organizing a conference and annual general meeting, AGM, to elect new executive to lead ISPON as a unified body. Gomi emphasized that all national leaders had endorsed the communique in a positive and celebratory atmosphere, marking a fresh start for ISPON. He added that while some individuals may have withdrawn from the process for selfish reasons, the committee wanted to make it clear that no one is above the law and no individual or group can hold the country or state for personal gain. The conference is scheduled to take place from October 17 to 19, 2024 in Abuja.
So please help us to push this information far and wide so that they will know that there is no more fashion in ISPON. And ISPON is one, and we are pushing in that direction. This thing has actually given a lot of problems. Letters have been written to organizations. They are finding it difficult to say who do we support. So please help us to publish to the group, the populace, employers of labor and others that ISPON has come to stay.
It is imperative that every employer of labor in Nigeria takes note that after October 19th, a new executive will be elected to govern ISPON. From that day forward, all HSC practitioners in Nigeria must obtain the new ISPON certification to practice as stipulated by the ISPON Act 2014. The National Assembly will only recognize certifications issued by the new executives.
Nigerians are losing so many things for the institute now running with one voice. Foreigners coming here to do whatever they like, accidents in factories and all the rest of it. Now we have some people who are selfish, who want to say, oh, it's me that will run the act. ISPON Act provides for 2 years for each executive. After 2 years, you go for re-election, and after that, your tenure expires.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a defection suit instituted against the 27 members of the River State House of Assembly loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Correspondent Kuliojo completes the story.
Seeking to replace the 27 lawmakers on the account of their alleged defection from the People's Democratic Party to All Progressive Congress was on Friday thrown out on various grounds. Among others, Justice Peter Lifu, who delivered the judgment, held that the suit instituted by the Action People's Party (APP) was statute bar, having not been filed within the 14 days allowed by the law. While the defection was said to have been carried out in December last year, the APP filed the case on July 12, a period of 8 months after the cause of action emanated. Besides, Justice Lifu said the case was a gross abuse of court process on the ground that several suits on the alleged defection of the same 27 lawmakers had been adjudicated upon by the Federal High Courts. The judge who quoted the previous judgment of the Federal High Court said the request for replacement of the lawmakers had earlier been rejected due to lack of sufficient fact to establish the defection of the legislators. The judge subsequently dismissed the suits on the three major grounds. Some of the counsel described the judgment as a victory for democracy.
Because His Lordship Honorable Justice Omotosho had in January this year found and held that the House of Assembly led by Right Honorable Martin Amuwule was the authentic House of Assembly in Rivers State, and that Martin Amuwule is the authentic Speaker of the House of Assembly of Rivers State. And the court said he's bound by those judgments of his brother's judges, and he cannot at this time sit on appeal on those judgments. So that is the state of the law. So as far as we are concerned, the court has found that the matter lacks merit. And indeed, the court went further to say that the plaintiffs failed to prove and establish their case. Even the video recording that they tendered, they could not. They dumped it on the courts. They could not do what they were required by law to do.
In the movie we saw, Act 1, Scene 1, we saw somebody. We don't know who he is. Scene 2, we saw so many people. We don't know who they are. Nobody told us who they are. You heard the judge said so too. So they just dumped, like my Lene brother said, they dumped everything on the court. I think this has put an end to the political hula baloo in Rivers State. And I think it's good for all of us.
Also, the embattled Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Honorable Martins Amaule, said he and other 26 members of the Assembly never at any time defected to the All Progressive Congress as speculated in the suits.
Anywhere in this country, looking for how to remove us through the back door. What the court has said today, including all that they have tendered as their evidence and all of that, is clear. No such thing as defection. And in any case, we have a right to defect, but we never defected. Anything you have seen is just the arrangement from the governor, being sponsored by the governor of Rivers State. And I say it clearly because he is the one pushing all of them. He is the one sponsoring all these persons, going from one court to the other.
He expressed the determination of the Assembly under him to continue to pursue the cause of justice at all times. From the Federal High Court in Abuja, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
At the education-related matters, some students of the University of Ibadan has vowed to continue to protest the increase in school fees and what they call victimization of some students. They made this known during a peaceful protest held beside the university in Main Gate, while some students are just returning to campus after a 3-week break ordered by the management of the institution. One who spoke on behalf of the group stressed the negative effect the current economic hardship is doing to Nigerian students, and any hike in school fees will see a lot of students thrown out of school.
Students choose UI simply because UI is affordable. Students will not choose private institutions simply because they cannot afford it and their parents also cannot afford it. You see now that when you've increased fees to an unbearable height, to something as high as 100, to something as high as 200, to something as high as 300, that it will now become comfortable. We are saying we are displeased, and we are saying that we reject this high-handedness of the federal government. We reject the high-handedness of the university management. We reject every attempt by both the university management and the federal government.
Meanwhile, in his reaction, the Vice-Chancellor of the institution, Professor Kayode Adebowale, advised the students to access the federal government loan scheme to avoid missing their examinations.
Charges that we spoke about, they can make it to be lower, but our own, we take the minimum because we don't want to reduce our quality. And I want to thank the federal government. There is the Students' Loan Fund that we kept on telling the students to apply. All these about 3,000, almost 3,300 students that did over these past 3 weeks to applying to NEL Fund. We will, once they don't have any challenge and so on, we will allow them to sit for the exams.
Still on education, the National Examination Council (NECO) has disclosed that it will be inviting and interrogating the management of 40 secondary schools across 17 states for alleged mass cheating in this year's Senior School Certificate Examination. NECO Registrar Professor Dante Tawushishe disclosed this at a press conference in Minna, Niger State capital, where he announced the result of the 2024 SSCE results. He said all the schools involved in cheating would be invited to the council for discussions, after which appropriate sanctions would be applied. The NECO boss also revealed that one school in Ekiti was recommended for the registration for mass cheating in 2 core subjects.
Number of candidates with 5 credits and above, including English and mathematics, is 828,284 candidates, representing 60.55%.
Not only that, Ushishi revealed that 21 supervisors were recommended for blacklisting due to poor supervision, aiding and abetting, abscondment, extortion, drunkenness and negligence in 12 states. Meanwhile, more than 60% of candidates who sat for the 2024 NECO SSCE passed with English language and mathematics.
40 schools were found to have been involved in whole school mass cheating in 17 states. They will be invited to the council for discussion, after which appropriate sanctions will be applied.
Now to the story teased earlier, the Central Bank of Nigeria says it has temporarily withdrawn the monetary credit, foreign trade and exchange policy guidelines for the fiscal years of 2024 to 25 document published on Tuesday, September 17, 2024. It said the revocation of the document is to minimize risks of any further misinterpretation or misinterpretation or resulting in confusion among stakeholders. It disclosed this in a news statement published on its website on Friday. The new release was, however, not signed by any CBN official. On Tuesday, except of the policy document stated that the bank will sustain its ways and means advances to the federal government at a 5% limit for the fiscal years 2024 to 25, contrary to a bill passed by the National Assembly which raised the minimum borrowing percentage in the Act from 5% to 10%. Another controversial except was the reinstatement of the cybersecurity levy, which was earlier suspended early this year due to serious public backlash. You're still out of the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. Now to other stories. Members of the regular Course 38 of the Nigerian Defence Academy (NDA), alongside their spouses, reconvened at the NDA Permanent Site Africa, Kaduna on Friday to celebrate 38 years in service. Fielding questions from newsmen, the special guest of honor for the Legacy Project is Royal Majesty Bubarayi Dakolo, Chairman Bayelsa State Traditional Council, reiterated the need for unity and diversity across the country while appealing to parents to instill these virtues in their family. In his address, the Commandant Nigerian Defence Academy, Major General John Ochai, says the Biodiversity Center established by the institution is mainly for research purposes, which will also cushion the effect of the ozone layer and global warming in northern Nigeria and the country at large, while the special guest of honor for the tree planting says it will serve as a symbol of togetherness and green ecology. The officers from the Nigerian Army, Navy and Air Force during the occasion recalled the nostalgia, the experiences during their training days at the academy and thank God for sparing their lives.
Message to Nigerians is that we should try as much as possible to unite. But beyond that, I think parents should do that hard work of helping to groom their children in that direction, because the foundation is so important. NDA, for instance, insists that as you are coming to become a cadet, you must be so young. If you are too old, they know that you won't change your ways. So when you are young enough, you are amenable. And I think that is the phase where parents will have to start instilling the importance of togetherness in their children.
So these trees you've planted here is also part of that enlarged biodiversity space. Our target is to make sure that in the next 5 years, we'll have the biggest conservatory in northern Nigeria. In the next 10 years, we'll be well established to challenge the current biggest, which is the Lekki Conservatory in Lagos. And eventually to be a one-stop place for research in biological studies in conservation and geography and other related subjects.
As a geologist and an environmental scientist, I know that trees help to protect the environment and beautify the surroundings. These trees were planted today is not just an investment for a greener economy, but much more than all of this, it is a symbol of our togetherness as a cause.
It's a very important one. The significance cannot be lost on anyone, because trees represent a lot in human civilization. Trees represent longevity. We know trees that have stood for 2,000 years and even more. So our prayer is that Nigerian Defense Academy will remain a thriving institution well into the future. Its longevity would underscore the strength of our armed forces in years to come.
The Nigerian Police Force Kaduna State Command has intercepted and arrested the suspected gun runner Bitrus Gang, a male from Barikin Ladi, Plateau State, with 20 locally fabricated AK-47 rifles and an empty type of 06 magazine hidden in the vehicle's boot. A statement signed by the command's PPRO ASB Mansir Azan says on September 19, 2024, at about 4 p.m., officers from Buruku Division, while conducting a routine patrol at Buruku Bridge, intercepted the black Golf 3-cylinder vehicle. Upon a thorough search of the vehicle, the officers discovered 20 locally fabricated AK-47 rifles and an empty type of 06 magazine hidden in the vehicle's boot. The suspect was identified as Bitrus Gang, a male from Barikin Ladi in Plateau State. ASP Mansir said that during interrogation, the suspect confessed to being a gun runner and revealed that he had transported fabricated rifles on at least 3 previous occasions. The police maintained that the suspect is currently cooperating with the police and efforts are underway to track down his other accomplices. Still on security stories, operatives of the Lagos State Police Command have arrested Ujungwa Una female and Chinelo Igbenchinowo female for conspiracy and child sales. The suspects were arrested by patrol officers from Ojudu Division stationed at Bega bus stop and entry point into Lagos State, who had earlier been alerted about the suspects by a Good Samaritan. The suspects were found with 2 newborn baby girls, approximately 6 years old, while traveling from Abia State on September 9, 2024. Investigations revealed that the suspects were en route to deliver the babies to a nurse in Lagos State, whom the mother of the babies promised to link them up with early after they had arrived Lagos. Upon questioning, the suspect confessed to the crime, stating that they were paid the sum of 150,000 naira for transportation of the babies to Lagos. The suspect added that the mother of the babies sold the babies because she could not give them proper care. The case was transferred to the gender unit of the command, from where the newborns were placed in the custody of a motherless baby home for proper care and medical evaluation. While investigation is ongoing to arrest other conspirators, the arrested suspects were arraigned on Thursday, September 19, 2024. A young woman who killed her stepson of about 3 years old have been arrested and paraded by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command. The young lady, a 17-year-old who reside in Bende village in Goma local government area of the state, was arrested by operatives of NSCDC while she was being lynched over the death of the 3-year-old by angry mob parading the suspect. The state commandant, Leroy Beatrice, said it is a case of culpable homicide as the young lady had confessed to a crime and would be handed to the police for prosecution.
Following a distress call by members of the public that one Ikoye Igumo had murdered a 3-year-old boy by name Ikoye Vanem, her stepchild, and dumped his body in a river. Men of the NSCDC division outpost at in the village Kuma local government area swiftly went, and upon interrogation, she confessed to have committed the crime.
Speaking on the spate of vandalism in Benue since assuming office less than a month, she described it as alarming as most critical assets are being stolen. A situation she said has called in the public and members of the association to scrap metals to support in the fight against vandalism.
Since my resumption to office on 26th of August 2024, we have been saddled with so much issues of vandalization of our critical national assets, and this has caused so much sabotage to the state, to Benue State in particular, especially our street lights, our pipelines, our transformers. In fact, sometimes we go and pick dead bodies in our transformers because they are trying to vandalize.
Meanwhile, the Delta State government has announced the recruitment of 120 state livestock management officers to address other farming clashes and ensure seamless farming activities across the state. The Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Val Arenyika, made this known in Asaba while urging journalists to engage in farming to bridge the hunger gap and enhance food security in the country. He explained that issues of criminality and the other farming crisis fall within the remit of the federal government, adding that as a state, they initially recruited 50 SMOs and are now engaging an additional 70 officers to monitor farming activities across the 25 local government areas. Earlier, Chairman of the Asaba Correspondence Chapel encouraged the Commissioner to explore and deploy all available resources towards achieving food security and job creation in line with Governor Sharif Obowori MORE agenda. He added that the State Empowerment Program through the Ministry of Agriculture would extend to those involved in farming. Chairman Governing Council of Ladoke Akintola University, LAUTECH, Professor Ayodeji Omole, has declared that terrorism, banditry and kidnapping are threatening forestry practice in the country. The professor of forest engineering lamented the forestry practice in Nigeria has recently become endangered due to widespread incidents of attacks, killings, rapes and kidnappings for ransom by armed men. The Don was speaking on the topic entitled Working in the Shadows of Death, maintained that the challenge of insecurity in forest estates is perhaps the major problem facing the sector. Omole made this declaration while delivering the 561st inaugural lecture of the University of Ibadan. While addressing the gathering, Omole noted that it is pathetic that the military formations seem helpless in effectively tackling and eradicating this particular monstrous challenge.
The blessing aspect of this security challenge is that bandits or no government or insurgents are majorly occupying many of our national forests in all parts of Nigeria, from Sambisa Forest in Borno State to many forests in southwestern part of Nigeria, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo State in particular, while Lagos and Ogun are not removed. Forests in the South East and South-South are not by any means equally exempted from the activities of these criminals.
While decrying the neglect of education by successive governments using a forest site engineer as illustration, it described the public universities as already working in the shadows of death. It maintained our university system has been captured and held hostage by many government policies, especially since the advent of the civil rule. The former RC chairman stated that unless something urgent is done to stop government attacks on Nigeria's educational system, the system will die faster than anticipated.
Just like a typical forest engineer working in the shadows of death, Nigerian university systems are already working in the shadows of death. Universities are supposed to be the training ground for producing critics and serve as watchdog of the society. Academics by training and tradition are critics.
Now, we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. The killing of a Japanese schoolboy in the Chinese city of Shenzhen has sparked worry among Japanese expats living in China, with top firms warning their workers to be vigilant. Toshiba and Toyota have told their staffs to take precautions against any possible violence, while Panasonic is offering its employees free flights home. Japanese authorities have repeated their condemnation of the killing while urging the Chinese government to ensure the safety of their citizens. The stabbing of a 10-year-old boy on Wednesday was the third high-profile attack on foreigners in China in recent months. Japan's ambassador to Beijing has also urged the Chinese government to do its utmost to ensure the safety of its citizens. Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida called the attack extremely despicable and said Tokyo had strongly condemned Beijing for an explanation. Tokyo had strongly urged Beijing for an explanation as soon as possible. Some Japanese schools in China have contacted parents, putting them on high alert in the wake of the stabbing. More than 70 people are thought to have been killed in an attack by an Al-Qaeda-linked group on Mali's capital, Bamako, according to diplomatic and security sources. Hardline fighters from the Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wa al-Muslimin carried out the attack on an elite police training academy and the nearby airport, prompting shock and anger in the West African country. A security source speaking on condition of anonymity said 77 people had been killed and 255 injured in the attack. An authenticated confidential official document put the toll at about 100, identifying 81 victims. 2 diplomats serving in the region, including one based in Bamako. The death toll was believed to be in the 70s. A third diplomat based in the region said hundreds were believed dead and injured, and the hospital had run out of beds to treat the victims. The country is fighting an armed uprising that began more than a decade ago in its arid north. It has also spread to neighboring countries in the Sahel region, leaving thousands dead and forcing millions from their homes. A Kentucky sheriff has been arrested after fatally shooting a judge in his chambers. District Judge Kevin Mullins died at the scene after being shot multiple times in the Letcher County Courthouse, Kentucky State Police said. Letcher County Sheriff Sean Steins, 43, had been charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. The shooting happened on Thursday after an argument inside the court, police said, but they have not yet revealed the motive. Officials said Mullins, 54, was shot multiple times at around 2 p.m. local time at the court in Whitesburg, Kentucky, a small rural town about 150 miles southeast of Lexington. Sheriff Steins was arrested at the scene without incident. Kentucky State Police said they did not reveal the nature of the argument before the shooting. According to information, the sheriff walked into the judge's outer office and told court employees that he needed to speak alone with Mullins. The two entered the judge's chamber, closing the door behind them. Sheriff Steins reportedly walked out after the shooting with his hands up and surrendered to police. He was handcuffed in the courthouse foyer. Still on the international scene, Lebanon's health ministry says at least 3 people have been killed and 17 wounded in an Israeli attack on the southern suburb of the Lebanese capital, Beirut. It was reported that 5 children are among the casualties from the attack on a building in Jamal Street, southern Beirut on Friday. It was said that the F-35 jet hit the residential area with 2 attacks. The Israeli military said it had carried out a targeted strike in the Lebanese capital, claiming to have hit near key Hezbollah facilities in Danieh. The Israeli military conducted a targeted strike in Beirut. At this moment, there are no changes in the Home Front Command defensive guidelines, it said, providing no further details. Earlier on Friday, Hezbollah pounded northern Israel with 140 rockets a day after the group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, promised to retaliate against Israel for a mass bombing attack. The Israeli military and the Iran-backed group said. Israel's military said the rocket came in 3 waves Friday afternoon, targeting sites along the ravaged border with Lebanon. Tensions between Israel and Hezbollah are soared days following 2 days of sabotage attacks blamed on Israel that set off explosives in thousands of communication devices, killing at least 37 people and injuring 30,000 people, including civilians. More than 70,000 people fighting in Russia's military have now died in Ukraine, according to data analyzed. And for the first time, volunteer civilians who joined the armed forces after the start of the war now make up the highest number of people killed in the battlefield since Russia's full-scale invasion began in 2022. Every day, the names of those killed in Ukraine, their obituaries and photographs from their funerals are published across Russia in the media and on social media. New graves in cemeteries have also helped provide the names of soldiers killed in Ukraine. These are usually marked by flags and wreaths sent by the Defense Ministry. Names of 70,112 Russian soldiers killed in Ukraine have been identified, but the actual number is believed to be considerably higher. Some families do not share details of their relative death publicly, and the analysis does not include names of the death of militia in the Russia-occupied Donetsk and Luhansk in the eastern Ukraine. Among them, 13,781 were volunteers, about 20%, and fatalities among volunteers now exceeded other categories. Lastly, on the international scene, the European Union has pledged to loan Ukraine up to 35 billion euros as part of a plan by the Group of 7 Nations, G7, to raise $50 billion through profit from frozen Russian state assets. The loan announced by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in Kyiv on Friday will help Ukraine repair its war-battered energy grid and boost its heating capacity as winter approaches. In June, the leader of the G7 nation, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom and the United States agreed to finance a $50 billion loan for Ukraine on the back of future profits from frozen Russian assets. The EU also participates in all G7 discussion. Relentless Russian attack means Ukraine needs continued EU support. Von der Leyen posted on X as she announced the loan, calling it another major EU contribution to Ukraine's recovery. She said earlier that Europe would lend Ukraine its support on a range of subjects, including winter preparedness and defense, during her 8th visit to Kyiv. And that's it from the international scene. Coming your way next, entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Rose Blossom Mwe. Here are the stories on Entertainment News Decks for today. Nigerian singer CK has netizens with pen in their mouth, deep in thought, as he recently unveiled a new category of the music genre, Afrobeat. There's been a teeth-rending debate among musicians on the matter of Afrobeat recently. Earlier in the year, Wizkid stated that he didn't want to be categorized as an Afrobeat artist and did high life singer Flavor. The fact that Wizkid distanced himself from the Afrobeat category didn't sit well with a lot of netizens, as the statement earned him a lot of backlash online. Also recall that shortly after that, the judge concluded received at VMA Awards, OAP Dotun criticized South African singer Tyler for accepting the award for Best Afrobeat Artist since she previously categorized herself as an Amapiano singer. Davido's driver Tunde Yusuf took to social media to express his heartfelt congratulations and appreciation after receiving a new car from the superstar. On his Instagram page, the excited driver shared a photo of the vehicle, thanking the singer and sharing praise for him. This is the third time Davido has gifted his crew a car. In July, he gifted his friend and talent manager, Ubi Franklin, a new car. The talent manager shared the good news on his Instagram page as he appreciated Davido's sweet gesture. In another news, Nollywood actress and filmmaker Omoni Oboli is tooting her horns following a recent achievement on Netflix. Taking to a page, she revealed that her 2019 movie, Last Year's Single, is still making waves on Netflix despite it being years since it was released. She noted how a movie is still the #1 show on Netflix in Nigeria. Describing it as a not mean feat, she stated that Prison Break couldn't break us, even though it was a top 10 in other countries. It is undoubtedly the era of female filmmaker winning in Nollywood, as this year has recorded a lot of female producers and filmmakers making big moves in the industry. Finally, on entertainment news, Nigerian entrepreneur and social media personality Tanya Omotayo welcomes a new baby into her family month after announcing a pregnancy on her 32nd birthday. The news was announced through a heartfelt post on her social media channel, where she shared the joy and excitement of becoming a mother. The new mother shared stunning photos of the newborn baby with her husband, her first child, and also a personal pose. The news has been met with enthusiastic congratulations from fans and fellow celebrities alike, all eager to celebrate this special moment with her. The baby's name and all the details expected to be revealed in the coming weeks. And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom Mwe. Bye for now.
And that is all we have for you. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Iribami Salako. Do have a great weekend.